Hey there! Greetings and welcome to Grow Moringa Farms in Plant City, Florida. I'm Kendrick Henry, your local USA Moringa farmer. And I just finished organizing the latest harvest out in Gulfport, which is about an hour south, and it's on that peninsula, St. Pete. It's the southernmost town on that little area that juts out into the bay. It's a beautiful microclimate where you can grow moringa all year round and get tons and tons of drumsticks. This is all from one tree, and I've been caring for this one tree for about 4 or 5 years. It's now about a 10-year-old tree. And what I've done is, after the harvest, organized it into these special bins. One of which is the drumsticks that were already dry and open. Separated that because I don't want that to go in the dry room with bugs. Okay? So that's in its own bin. That'll probably just get opened up, the seeds will be separated, and the dried drumstick part will be composted. At that point, the bugs will be eaten and it'll be in the system and managed organically. There's lots of vitamins and minerals in here, and you can also use these to put on top of your raised beds as fertilizer and nutrients. It'll break down as compost. It's good to even chop them up and put them into the compost bin, so that way it helps to remineralize the compost bin from there. So there are viable seeds inside here that we will use to then just spread out over top of our raised beds to regrow new trees. We may not press these seeds for oil because of the mold and fungus and bacteria that might be on them. The next most valuable part of the moringa tree is this size drumstick. This size drumstick is not fully plump yet, but this is the most ideal size for sambar and soups and cooking. This is a prized delicacy. At this particular size is what you can sell for about $10 a pound to restaurants, churches, chefs, and from all backgrounds. South America, Asian, as well as Indian and African cuisine consists of many dishes using this in a soup form, where you chop it, boil it, and add also your favorite types of veggies and stock, whatever kind of meat you might like, or other things like sprouts, and even could make it into a curry because the starch on the inside of this helps to create kind of like a potatoey thickness to the soup. And you can also peel the inside off and discard the outside shell as you eat it, very similar to almost kind of like asparagus, or somebody said very similar to what is that one that is like the stomach, the artichoke, very similar to an artichoke, where you kind of eat it and peel it off. That's very similar to this size. Now the next size is where they get really plump at this point, and they're not much as valuable as a soup, but at this point they have seeds inside. The reason why this is valuable as a soup with a little bit of young seeds inside is because the seeds will pop in your mouth without a shell. The shell hasn't really formed on the seed itself yet. At this point, the shell has formed on the seed, and it's not as desirable to eat because it has a harder shell on it. And so for these ones we like to also dry and use at this point for seeds, and possibly these ones can be good enough for pressing as for oil. So that way you can get moringa seed oil. And I brought these ones out here to show you. Look at this beautiful red color on these ones. Same tree. This is all from one tree. These ones were right in the sun. And what is that color? What is that? Could be some beta carotene, could be some iron, could be some vitamins and minerals that come out, especially when it hits the sun. It's tanning, it's melanin, it's carbon, it's nutrients. And this is potentially a PKM1 variety tree, one tree. So we organize this down to where we have our large ones that will dry. At this point, they're no longer really for soup. We have the ones that are good for soup, which will sell $10 a pound fresh. And then we have the ones that we separate that are already open and dried up on the tree. This is why you want to harvest your trees regularly, because if you just let these sit on your tree, it's going to attract a lot of bugs. And this will help keep the bugs off of the tree and from around that area. Although moringa is anti-parasitic in nature, where it's like it doesn't attract bugs if you're caring for it. It doesn't necessarily have known kind of like pests per se. It's just once there's a lot of material on the tree that you're not harvesting, it just attracts bugs that are eating it. It doesn't really get eaten like if it's managed and if it's fresh, like the leaves don't really get eaten by things. But there are things that we're still learning about growing it in the USA. And I'm in Tampa, Florida, around that area, Plant City, Southwest Florida. And we have lots of growers in the Florida region. If you'd like to get connected with other growers, we have an organization where you can get to know other members inside the Grow Moringa Collective members area. And you can see that we also separated the small sticks, and this will be good as a compost and used on many other applications on the farm. Our large cuttings over here, which we could stick directly in the ground and they will re-root, and we can also ship those as sprouted cuttings in the mail, which we do have available at our shop, growmoringa.shop. And then you can see we have the greens really nicely organized over there. And those are just the greens. We actually got two bins of greens on it. Probably about 1 kilo worth of dried greens will come off of this one tree. 1 kilo of dried greens. We got about 2 full bins. So we'll get those washed up, spread out on some racks in a humid-free environment. So that way it's a clean room and there's no pests or bugs in there. There's filters, dehumidifiers, and also things that kill larvae and bugs like zappers and things like that, to make sure that that area is free from any kind of pests or anything that might be either in the leaf or in the drumsticks at any time. So that's why we keep these ones really separated, because sometimes they will get like mealy bugs and ants and things like that in there, and you don't want to bring that into your dry room. So before we bring this in, we'll clean off the greens, wash them up, soak them. We've got bubblers. They sit out in a big bin, and then we just grab off the top and then throw those on screen racks. So that way they dry really, really fast, and they don't form any mold or bacteria on the greens. And that's really what you don't want, is a discoloration by having the greens either bundled. You don't want to bundle the greens, and you don't want to keep them in a pile. You know, you want to spread them out and have airflow on both sides, whether you're drying either on a table in your kitchen or in an area. The screen is also a great way for airflow to get in underneath and dry it faster, and that'll be even more safer for your operation. So I hope you enjoyed the organization that it takes after finishing up a property. It might be a big mess getting it back to the property, but from there you organize it out and you have different uses for different parts of the tree, and nothing is going to waste. And that's really the most important thing here. And if you have any questions at any time, you can always text me at 813-567-3100 or go to growmoringa.com for more information about our membership opportunities, or .shop for our products. Peace and love.